I'm going to add the feature that allows you to delete an inquiry and make it disappear from the list. And the way in which we'll do that is we'll make sure we know which inquiry we want to delete. And the safest way to do that is by navigating to that particular inquiry and working from there. And that's how we'll make sure that we're working exactly the one we want to delete. We don't delete the wrong one by accident. So it'll only be accessible, the delete function will only be accessible from inside the edit page. So that's what we're going to do, and we'll implement that piece by piece. What we have to do is we have to put a new function inside the inquiry service, which does the delete job. And then in the edit page code set, we're going to add a function or a method inside the TS file and a new navigation feature inside the HTML. And that's what we're going to do as our strategy. So we're inside the inquiry service page, or sorry, module, which is just here. And we've got this particularly, not complex, but certainly full data set, or data management set that we're going to do. So what I'm going to do is, just to make it easier for us to read, I'm going to put this at the top here just so that it's more in line with the structure that we've got. And I'm going to just paste it in off my clipboard. So here we have the method that we're going to use, which is called delete inquiry. And it's going to have an argument called ID, which is a number. And then the workings are inside the curly braces. And we need a constant called index, which is going to be assigned the value this.inquiries.findIndex. So that makes a data set searchable and something identifiable through the findIndex method of this particular structure. Then we're going to say the inquiry that we want will be assigned the value from inquiry.id, where it is equal to ID that was passed in the function argument. Having got that, we will then say this.inquiries splice, which is remove, delete if you wish. And what do we want to delete? The one which is at position index, and we want to delete one record. So that's the way in which this delete is set up inside our service. So let's just check that we can compile. So it's compiled successfully. So let's just refresh my browser to make sure that nothing in the interface has been broken by it. It shouldn't be. It has no impact on anything apart from the service itself. So this is now available for us to use wherever we want. If we've called the service, we can now access this function. So that's really important. So I'm inside the editinquiry.page.ts, the code behind the page, and I've set up a signature for our function, which is called onTrash. And so we're saying that this is what will be called from the button in the HTML page to make it work to delete or splice out the particular inquiry that we want to deal with. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the code for that. This dot inquiry service delete inquiry, that's one of the methods that's been set up inside the particular inquiry service. So we'll set up some parentheses, put a closing statement there. So what do we want to delete? This dot inquiry dot ID, and that finds the right one. So that's what we want to do. And then what we want to do is also to go straight back, as we've done before. We need to have we need to be able to navigate back to the nav controller's last page. So we're going to add that in to this dot nav control dot go back, and it's true. So that's going to take us back to the home page once it's done its job. So let's just remind ourselves, when it's called, it's going to look in the inquiry service for this particular function, the delete inquiry, and it's going to be given the ID from our service on the page here, and it's going to splice that out. So let's go next to the HTML5. But first, we'll make sure that everything runs as required. Compiled successfully, so let's just do another double check to make sure that nothing is grossly broken by what we've just done. So do that, and we're getting the same as we had before, so that's really good. And we build the next structure in the HTML5 page by looking at the toolbar first and then calling the method on the icon that is clicked. So let's go to the HTML5 page. Now what we have to do with this is that we've got our first set of buttons up here, which is the back button, and then we've got the title specified. And now what we want to do is below here in the next part of the toolbar, I'm going to paste in the code for the button that we want. So this one here, it has slot start. So we can't really put something on the other side inside the same buttons set, the same buttons group. So we set up a new group, but this time we're slotting it at the end of the toolbar, which on our culture is the right hand side. And what we're going to do is we have a button, which is an icon only button, and we're now going to call our onTrash method when that is clicked. And that's going to be if we are in edit mode. So we then say the icon name is trash and close that and close the button. So that means it's only going to be available if we've got in edit mode. We're in list mode. This is all of the inquiries we've got. So if I try to add a new inquiry, there's no navigation to the onTrash method. There's no icon for the trash. But if I go into one of the records, there's my icon. So everything's in place. So let's just see what happens when we press it. The record is gone. The record is deleted. I can still add a new one, of course, and so forth. So our CRUD is complete. We can create, we can read, we can update, and we can delete. So that's full CRUD using a mobile application built in Ionic and Angular. So that's really significant. This is a really big moment again where you've got something else proved, and it means that we've enhanced our application. So we're getting better all the time, and our application is developing into something that's very realistic.